We're starting recording. John Jackson, how are you, buddy?
What's up, man? Hey, listen, I apologize for my...
stop your phone.
I'm going to put on my headphones just one second.
Don't worry about it. I'll talk while you're getting your little headgear going. John Jackson, for people who don't know, he is a maestro in lease option assignments and other magical tricks of the trade in real estate investing. I'm Brian Gibbons of REI Skills. John's with leasingtobuy.com. I think John Jackson is one of the most sincere coaches that's in the REI educational business. I'm going to kiss your ass a little bit, John. I think he is an ethical guy. I think he's honest, and I think he tries super hard to steer the newbie down the right road to making money within a reasonable amount of time, like 60 to 90 days, and get a check and build a business at the same time. I'll toot my own horn a little bit. I do my business models a little bit different. I say, okay, we lease and buy houses is what our model is at REI Skills. And when we get a lead, we might do a subject to purchase, we might do a contract for deed purchase, we might do a lease option purchase, and then on the exit strategy, we might just do a rent to own or a hold it. But the bottom line here is we don't use any banks at all. So, John, the big thing about this number one recording is January 10, the SAFE Act is being, the switch is going on for the SAFE Act and the Dodd-Frank Act. What do you think is going to happen to credit in January 10, and how can we help sellers after these new regulations for mortgages?
Well, I'll tell you, Brian, first of all, let me say this. Oh, there you are. Now I see your whole face. Before I just saw a little bit of your face. Now I see the whole thing. Let me say this, Brian. There was a time there, 2008, 2009, 2010, where we had people in underwriting, literally in underwriting, getting ready for finance through our lease purchase program, and they could not get financed because the guidelines changed. So there were the I'm throwing out numbers here, but you get the drift.
Sure.
They were at a 620, and oh, thank you, you're almost ready. Oh, I'm sorry, now you've got to be a 640.
Right.
So we had like 5, 8, 10 people in the pipeline of finance, and we had to go, oh, I'm sorry, now you to be at a 640. So it was a moving target. Does that make sense, Brian?
It does, sure.
Here's the thing, Brian. The guidelines are going to change next year.
This is FHA guidelines. FHA guidelines.
Yes. The guidelines are going to change. The biggest thing is this, is DTI,
right.
Debt to income. When we pull an application for someone, we look at 43% DTI.
Right. And let's just define that a little bit for people that are listening.
Yeah.
So we're looking at gross income.
Yes.
Okay. And that's in the denominator of the fraction. Okay?
Yes.
That's the income piece. Now,
right.
How do you define the debt piece at the top?
It's gross monthly income. So let's assume, and I'm using round numbers
That's
here,
fine.
okay? Okay. Let's assume someone grosses before Obama takes out half for insurance for people that can't afford it, whatever.
Yeah, it's on your check.
Gross monthly. Gross monthly income. Let's assume someone makes, this is a high number, but say $10,000 gross monthly, okay?
Yeah, you got it.
43% of that is $4,300. Now you subtract from 4,300 their reported debt. What that means is car payment, student loans, credit card payments. Okay, these come off the top. If there's child support involved, a payment That's included as well.
Mm-hmm.
What's remaining is what they could qualify for in a monthly payment for the house, okay?
Right.
So you're reducing that from the gross monthly, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we're looking at 43% DTI
Yep.
for FHA financing.
Yeah.
It looks like in January, February 2014, that amount will drop from 43% to looks like 40%. I don't know, obviously, for sure, but 40%. Now, with the way I pull an application, if someone's right at that 43% mark,
Yep.
I'm actually a little bit hesitant. I'm like, a little bit tight here, a little bit tight.
Sure.
But the point is that we could have somebody that has a 780 FICO score.
Yeah.
This is at 42% DTI.
Yeah.
And you don't qualify.
Yeah. John, let me interject some. Okay. Our job is to coach these people to get their mortgage, right? It's simple.
Right.
I do the same thing. When I get somebody that's on the borderline, right, like you're talking about, they're at 42%, they're at 43%, whatever. There's only two ways you can increase DTI. You can get rid of some debt or increase some income.
Right.
Would you agree with that? Now, how can you fix? No, there's no other way to do it.
No, you're right.
There's no way about it. If you want to lose weight, you either stop this, okay?
Yeah.
Or you do more of this.
Yep.
Okay? Now, have you ever done this? It says, look, you're going to move into this house. Your DTI is on the borderline. We can't decrease debt very fast, but you know what we can do? We can increase income faster.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get them to go to Walmart for one weekend, twice a month, and bump their income, right? Part-time job, right? Mm-hmm. And it's usually dad that makes a little bit more money to bump their income a few points, right? And that will help them come out of the maybe pile and into most definitely pile as far as DTI. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have to keep that job after they get the mortgage, but to get the mortgage, their numbers have to be there. Their numbers have to be there to get the mortgage. So you either can cut debt or increase income. Increasing income is probably the easiest way. Go get a part-time job, bump that income, make sure it's reportable income, and it's not under the table at the bar, Good income.
Yeah. Yeah, we've helped people that got paid cash, but I would tell them you need to get that cash into your account and show that and file that on your taxes. So, I know this is not appropriate, but we've helped ladies that dance for a living.
Yeah. Well, let's not go that route. We'll just say that we've helped everybody.
I would tell them you've got to put that cash into your account.
Cash earners to W-2 people to self-employed people that have intermittent income, whatever it is. But the bottom line here is credit's going to get tighter on January 10 because the SAFE Act is requiring lenders to define debt to earnings, what is a debt and what is earnings, in a whole different way. And there's 300 pages of the SAFE Act just on debt to earnings. It's ridiculous. And the other thing is about, in my opinion, if you're in the lease option assignment business, you are much better off getting a letter from a RMLO, which is a registered mortgage loan origination person, and they got an RMLO number, and they do a 1003 app on your lease option assignment tenant buyer.
Yep.
Okay. And you know what? We put that in the file. That's your before picture by somebody who is federally regulated, and they're basically saying, this is your income, this is your FICO score, here are your pieces of the puzzle. What's missing here is you got to drop your debt to earnings a little bit. That's our advice to you to get this mortgage in 12 to 24 months. And that's before they move in, all right? Because I don't know if you know this, John, but do you know what the penalties are if you don't properly underwrite the buyer under certain circumstances? Do you know what the federal penalties are?
I started taking your first young.
No, it's not quite that bad. Some people would rather give up their firstborn than this penalty that they got, because it's 3 years payments on the house, plus the down payment, plus attorney's fees.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's $1,000 a month times 336 times the down payment times attorney's fees, that could be 40 grand, 50 grand, easy. And how would you like to, as a seller or a seller finance deal,
yes,
if you don't properly underwrite the buyer, as per the SAFE Act and the Dodd-Frank, you are going to have a headache. Now, John, what I love about what you do is you are unlike most lease option investors. Why? Because you babysit the tenant buyers. Most people don't babysit the tenant buyers. I don't know why you do that. You're not a loan originator. You just do you care about the sellers? Why do you even bother with that? Why don't you just go get another seller, and whatever happens happens?
It's called contacts. When someone says, "Well, can you give me references?" Yeah, references, baby.
Well, let me ask you this, John. You've been doing this for 9.5, 10 years, right? And one of the hardest things is to use your SOP every day for a new person, because it doesn't work. Your SOP is you pick up the phone and you go, "You helped my friend 5 years ago, and I heard you're awesome. Can you come over to my house?" And your attitude is, "I don't know if I'll like your house, but I'll try." You know what I mean? It's like you get to pick and choose because of the referrals. Right. Because of the referrals, John, your life is easy. And you've earned that right by doing quality work every day. Like, you won't take every house, and you won't take every seller who's going to be oppositional with the tenant buyer. If he's going to be a jerk, you don't want the house, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And if you've got a tenant buyer who you think is going to be a jerk to the seller, you don't want that tenant buyer, even if he's got the option fee. It doesn't matter. You want to put complementary people together, being a matchmaker of these people, so you don't have a lot of conflict down the road, right? That's a big piece of this puzzle.
You know what, Brian? That is, you nailed it. I've had someone 2 weeks ago that called me and said, "Hey, I was referred to a seller. A seller called me and said, well, I've got this house over on, wherever out in the boondocks, and I was referred to you by so-and-so that we did a couple of houses for. And I pulled the information on this house from this referral, and I called him back and I said, listen, I'd love to help you. In my head, I'm thinking, dude, that's not really what we do. He had some little dinky house in not such a good area.
Yeah, there you go.
But I was like, well, that's not really what we do. But, I could try to put this together for you, but I'll be honest with you, we really try to say, and I'm just honest with people. I don't say your house is in a crappy area. I just go, well, that's not really the area we normally focus on. Our success rate drops in that area, and so I'm kind of working on that end.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But the reason that we're so successful in our the people that get in, the people that get financed, is because I'm picky, obviously, the people that come in from a seller standpoint and those that come in from a buyer standpoint.
Yeah.
So I turn down probably 70% of the applications we have on the buyer standpoint, but I also tend to turn down sellers. Like this guy who, very nice guy, but I was like, I try to politely go, well, that's not really the area we focus on.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too, John. I mean, you probably concur with this. When I get a new client as a coaching client that wants to do lease option assignments and help sellers sell on terms, and then we'll enter into that lease with an option as a principal and then assign our deal for a fee, and it's usually the option fee. I'm very, very, I want a good house. And I always tell my new student that's going into this business, think about the car business. What car jumps off the lot, doesn't stay on the lot more than 3 days?
Boom. Can I answer that? Honda. Toyota.
This is what I tell them. If you had a lot that just had Toyota Camry wagons, right, and Odyssey Honda minivans, and nothing else, and you had a mechanic that knew those things in and out, and you had like 100 of them, like CarMax, you had 100 of them, they'd all be gone in a week. Because on a scale of 1 to 10, they're all 10s about what the consumer wants. So if it's the same thing, when you do your marketing and you get the best school districts and you get a 3 or 4 bedroom, 2-bath minimum house, not a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, but and you get a 2-car garage, you get a 2-car garage, you get a fenced-in yard. That's the American dream. You get a kitchen that's reasonable, that's open plan, you get 2 good bathrooms that are updated. You get that kind of a property, you will move it fast. Really fast. You will get top option money. You'll get $5,000, $10,000 option money because people want that house. If the crime rate is low and you can walk down that street at 9 p.m. without getting hassled, it's a neighborhood watch kind of neighborhood. Just go to neighborhoodscout.com. They'll tell you what the crime rate is. They'll tell you what the appreciation rate is. You can buy reports as far as what are the best areas. And it's like that car lot. If you only have Camry wagons and Odysseys, you will have a thriving business. Now, the reverse of this, you go into a war zone and you get a crappy house where there's crack hose and all sorts of whatever, you wouldn't want your mother or your grandmother walking down that street at 9 o'clock at night. Don't do this business. You might want to wholesale in that area, but you do not want to do lease option assignments in that kind of an area because your life will suck. You will not be able to move these houses. You will get people that can't afford any money because people that want to live there are broke. Because it's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 1 area, it's a 2 area, it's a 3 area.
Yeah.
In the wholesaling model, that works. It doesn't matter. Over here, when we're doing lease option assignments, we're doing middle class to upper class houses where people want to live and they're willing to pay you 3 to 5% of the value of that house to get into it. They're willing to do that.
Yeah, let me add this. Let me take that a step further, Brian. What you said is absolutely true. There is a difference between lease option assignments and wholesaling. Each one has pros and cons, but each one is a different strategy.
Yep.
Lease option assignments is an exit strategy for that seller. Does that make sense?
Yep, it is.
Lease option assignment, that's an exit strategy for that seller. We are the exit strategy. A seller listing with an agent That agent is the exit strategy. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Lease option assignments are the exit strategy. Mm-hmm. When you're wholesaling, all you're doing is flipping a contract to the end buyer. Wholesaling, all you are is, you're not the exit strategy, you are the conduit. Mm-hmm. You're the conduit to that end investor that's going to buy that house, and you don't care what their exit strategy is.
Nope.
So we have to approach lease options differently than wholesaling. Now, I do both, but they're two different dynamics.
Sure.
So that's why I tell people there are areas, literally, Brian, if I were to drive 15 minutes to the south of me, there are areas where I could lease option houses all day long that are in the lower price range of $80,000 houses, whatever.
Yep.
But you know what? I don't market there because of this. That seller came to me as an exit strategy. I know if I were to market there, the $80,000 house, again, I'm using, this is just my area.
Your market, yeah.
$80,000 house, I can do everything I can. At the end of the day, they're coming to me for the exit strategy. Mm-hmm. If I lease option that house, at the end of the day, I know in my heart these people won't buy. There's no exit there. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So in other words, that's why I don't market to the $80,000 properties, the 75, whatever. I can make a lot of money.
What's your median? What's your median of your market? Yeah. Is it 120, 130?
Yeah, certainly 120 and above. And again, I'm in the Fort Worth area, which Fort Worth is very broad. Yeah. I'm in the North Fort Worth area, but I like houses. When I get leads on houses below 120. I always kind of go, the second I get them, I go, let me take a look at this.
Let me use an analogy for people listening. If you don't know what median is, it's where the middle of your market is. Where the middle of your market. So if John's got very few over 300,000, very few, and if he's got a lot between 300 and 200, but the median's around 130, 140, if he shooted for neighborhoods that had a lot of 130 to 200 in the lease option assignment business, he'd probably be well served to go just slightly above median, and look for the best school districts in that area. And people will want that entry level. That's the parents, mom and dad, the dinks, the double income, no kids people, or double income, a couple of kids people. And they need the 4-bedroom, 2-bath in the good school district, but it's modest. It's like a ranch house, 1,500 square feet, 2-car garage, fenced-in yard, all this other stuff. If you do that above your median in the good school district, people will be jumping at that. Jumping. Now, you go below the median, around that 80 grand, 90 grand, in the not-so-good school districts, even if it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you're in the welfare area. You're in the area that a lot of people don't want to be in, and they don't have the 3 to 5% to pay you. They don't have the money, and you just have to farm in the right area. Damn it! It's just the same. Do the right things in this business, because the lease option assignment business is a very lucrative. This is the other thing about lease option assignment business that I love, and I know we're not. This started off as a recording. This is what's happening in January 10. But because credit's getting tighter, John, then the realtors are going to have a worse life in January 10 and beyond. They're going to have a worse life.
Yep.
If they have a worse life, I think a strategy would be to go talk to these realtors and say, your life is going to be worse off because of the federal government getting involved with lending and mortgages. Okay, your life is going to be worse off. Self-employed people are going to have a harder time. all sorts of people are going to have a harder time getting mortgages. And if that's true, we want to be your go-to person for that seller that needs seller financing. And we want to let you know, Mr. Realtor, that we have our I's dotted and our T's crossed, because every single one of our seller financing buyers have been vetted through an RMLO. And the RMLO is going to be key to any seller financing deal to protect the seller in case there's a problem down the road. And I think that is a great point of difference, to be able to be walking into Realtor's office in January and let them know that they have, choice A is to get it for cash. Choice B, if that doesn't work out, you come in, throw $500 to the realtor for their time, and then get into a lease option assignment deal where you can make 3 to 5% of the value of that house. I think that is a super good idea. What do you think on a marketing basis?
No, I think you're exactly right. Here's the thing is that in 2008, as the market was crashing, which I won't go into the whole reason why, is actually mainly due to the people that actually drafted the SAFE Act. But yeah, welcome Barney Franks and Chris Dodd.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, I won't go there. But I will say this. From creative real estate, lease options, owner finance, we thrive in a market where people cannot get financed.
Tight credit rules, creative finance.
So from a business standpoint, Brian, when they move the credit, the FHA FICO score from was 580 to 620 within 2 months, 640 as it was a moving target. Mm-hmm. Guess what? I made more money during that time because now the sellers can't sell, the buyers can't buy.
Yeah,
who do they go to?
With a problem solver.
They go to leasing to buy.
Mm-hmm.
So I made more money during that time. Which is, from a financial perspective, that's great. But yeah, you're exactly right. You want to be there as as we progress to the next level, which is the next thing I see, Brian. Again, I hear rumors and this and that, but this is coming from underwriters saying DTI is going to be dropped. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, now that's going to affect a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So what happens is the tighter the credit standards, the smaller the pool is of people that can qualify. Yeah, the pool diminishes. So what I tell sellers is this: we have the invert of what a real estate agent has, and a real estate agent has this many people that can qualify for FHA, okay? There's this many houses, okay? We have, on the lease option side, this many people, well, you can't see it, this many people that can't qualify, that come to us, but we only have this number of houses that we can offer them.
Now,
so
I'm
we can turn
interrupt you here because
quickly.
I stole this idea from you 5 years ago. Okay, see my hands here. Here's a triangle.
Yes.
You see this triangle?
Yeah.
Now this triangle represents a wedding cake. Okay. Remember the wedding cake analogy that you?
Yeah. We have the opposite of the wedding cake. Yep.
Yeah. So at the top, what's the top? The top represents what? A small amount of people for what?
That can qualify.
Yeah. And the bottom is the number of houses that are for sale, right?
Yep.
Now we turn that wedding cake upside down, and what's the top?
Now we have people that can't qualify.
Yeah. So all the people that are, can't qualify at the top, what's the bottom?
Now the bottom is the number of houses that we can make available to them as a lease purchase.
Exactly. Now, the bottom line here is I just think that there's so much opportunity right now to be able to not just do lease option assignments, to open up your menu, if you will, because we can buy a ton of properties subject to now, right? Because the
Yep.
Dodd-Frank Act does not get involved with a seller that's doing that that 12-month exclusion. There's an exclusion in there that the seller can sell on seller finance any way he wants to without worrying about the Dodd-Frank Act or the SAFE Act or anything else like that. He can sell his house on subject to. So we can go in and buy that house on subject to and then sell it on a wrap, couldn't we?
Yeah.
We could go buy it on subject to and sell it on a lease option, couldn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And because of the exception, now if we're selling on terms as properties that we own because we bought it subject to, we need an RMLO to vet that buyer. We need to do that.
Right.
Okay? But if we're doing a lease option assignment where that seller is in effect leasing with an option to a tenant buyer, they don't have to vet that tenant buyer. They don't have to do it.
They don't, and I've had Brian. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I've had people ask me this. Well, what about the SAFE Act? What about SAFE? Everybody's worried about the SAFE Act. With a lease option, you are not providing a note.
Exactly.
You're not creating a lien. You're not creating a loan on that property.
Right. It's all about notes. It's all about notes. And the only thing that's got to do with notes
it's about finance. It's about financing, creating finance.
Contract for deed is financing.
Yep.
A wraparound mortgage, AITD, is financing. Okay.
Yep.
If you're selling on terms in the sense, see, I always said, I sold my house on lease option. No, you didn't. You didn't sell your house. You leased it, and you gave them a chance to buy it down the road is what you did. So don't say you sold your house on rent to own. You didn't. You rented it out and gave them a chance to buy it is what you did.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if you sold it on a contract for deed, you sold it. It's sold. They don't have the deed, but they have every tax benefit of ownership by having that contract for deed agreement or agreement for deed or land contract, whatever it is. Okay? Now, the one other thing I wanted to bring up is the SAFE Act and the Dodd-Frank said that if they're going to do some seller financing, they better take a look at how they're doing it with this exclusion. And they say that you can sell it with in your personal name, or you can sell it in a trust or an estate. Those are the three things you can do.
Yep.
But you can't sell it in an LLC or a corporation or a partnership. So that you've got to make sure your P's and Q's are taken a look at with these exclusions. Okay, so important that you get the facts after the 10th of January. And we've got some information on our website as far as what these facts are for the exclusions. So, but let's kind of sum this up a little bit, John. Do you feel that this is a great time to be getting involved with helping sellers sell in 2014? What's your opinion?
I'll tell you this, Brian. I'm going to back up a couple of steps and then kind of make a general statement.
Okay.
First of all, again, taking a step back from what you just asked, I have people emailing me every week about lease options. And they're always, and you got, Brian, I know for a fact you get the same emails I do where they ask, well, because of this or because of that, is this a good time to get a lease options?
Right.
Or because of this, here's the thing. If someone is emailing me or emailing you and asking that question, because of this, is this a good time, fill in the blank? Because of this, is this a good time to fill in the blank?
Right.
Those are people that will not succeed.
Right.
And I say that, Brian, and again, I know this is not, I'm going to circle back to
I'm with you. Go ahead.
I'm going to circle back, so bear with me. I started leasing to buy, having zero knowledge about what the heck I was doing in 2003.
Well, do you think I was involved with that?
Brian, don't get me started on a $700 phone call to New Zealand. I wish I would have had that imprint. I was shadow box that cell phone.
I know, that was funny.
It was funny.
Let me do an aside here. Back in 2002, I met John, and he was part of a group that I started because I read this book called 1 Minute Millionaire. And for a whole year, I coached people for free. And why did I do that? I have no idea. It was it's the worst business plan idea you could possibly have. But John was a member of that group, and he was a day trader at the time. And he had 2 baby girls, rugrats down by his ankles, biting his ankles every day. His poor gorgeous wife was a school teacher, paying all the bills, praying that John would make a couple of dollars with his hobby of lease option assignments, cooperative assignments, whatever. And if John didn't understand it, he went out in the field and did it anyway. If John had some fear about what they say, or he didn't have the right word patterns, he went out and winged it. John is a poster child for fake it till you make it. And John, you're one of the best students I ever had in my life. To this day, you basically exude confidence even if you don't know what you're saying. I don't know how you get that done sometimes. But more importantly, you've got the ability to get the best advisors quickly on your side to get the best advice so that you can get the best solution. And I think that is one of your greatest entrepreneurial skill sets is your ability to go find the best people. I remember your fight in 2005-06 when you were dealing with executory contract law in Texas, when they outlawed contracts for deed and they made penalties for lease options in Texas ridiculous, and you found a way to have a business plan for lease option assignments in Texas, and you actually had Trek people, the Texas Real Estate Commission, come in and take a look at your files, and they gave you a clean bill of health, not needing a license to sell real estate as a realtor, because of exactly what you're providing services to sellers and to buyers. So that's a little infomercial on you, but I love you to pieces because you are a true champion of entrepreneurs. You want to help entrepreneurs make money, build a business, make a smart business, write good deals. Don't just make a few dollars and screw people. And the other thing that I like about you is you really care about these buyers buying. You really do. And you've learned more about mortgage origination than most lease option assignment people I've ever met. You know FHA guidelines better than practically anybody in this country, even though you're not writing those mortgages. So my hat's off to you as far as what your knowledge base is, where your heart is, and you've got such a great reputation. So, yeah, that's my little infomercial on you. But to back up on my original question, I'll answer the question, and then you can answer it. I believe that credit will get tighter. I believe that real estate agents, their life will get worse. It's not going to get better. Not because of what they're doing. It's because of the restrictions on financing on residential mortgage financing that's going to happen, there's going to be a backlash in the housing recovery because of this Dodd-Frank law and because of the TILA and because of the SAFE Act. It's just going to cause people not to write any kind of risk loans. They're going to want no risk loans. That's all they're going to want to write.
Well, yeah, and we don't know what the future holds, Brian, but 3 or 4 years ago, I fully anticipated FHA requiring 5% down.
Me too.
I would not be surprised, Brian, if in the next year or 2 years, that FHA requires 5% down. Right now it's 3.5% down. Conventional, which I'm not going to go into loan origination right now, but conventional is 5%. There are some that require 10%, but FHA is 3.5% down. I would not be surprised to see 5% down FHA in the next year.
Yeah.
What happened was in 2007, 2008, the guidelines changed literally. Brian, I'm not making this up. By the week.
I know.
By the freaking week. We had a loan, lending package from Bank of America where they said, okay, we've got this new program out. Here's what it is. They were going to launch it on maybe I think it was a Monday. They gave us the package on a Wednesday. By Friday, they pulled it back and said, oh, never mind. I mean, it's that quick. It's bam, bam, bam. Oh, here's what we're going to offer. Oh, so the lending guidelines were changing so quickly, you could not keep up with them. You literally could not. So what happens is then the dust kind of settled and it finally came down to, okay, here's kind of where we are. 640 FHA, no judgments, no tax liens, blah, blah, blah. We are now seeing where DTI is dropping like next year. I don't know what's going to happen next, but as you said, the tighter the guidelines are for finance, that makes it harder for sellers to sell and buyers to buy. So that makes the agent's job much harder. Because keep in mind, excuse me, oftentimes the agents are showing houses to people that aren't even pre-approved. And there's a huge
I'm getting a little bit of static, John, just to let you know.
Okay. I'll talk less static.
No, we can kind of wrap it up. I just think it's going to get tighter. It's going to bring all problems in mortgage finance, residential mortgage finance, is opportunity for the creative real estate investor that understands what's legal in their state to be able to provide an alternative way to sell a house. Whether it's a lease option, whether it's a wraparound mortgage, whether it's a contract for deed, land contract. Like, for instance, John, I don't know if you know this, and I know you're kind of Texas-specific in your lease options, but in Ohio, you can sell a house on land contract, which is an installment sale, which is a contract for deed. Okay? Now, if you sell on land contract and the buyer, this is only in Ohio, the buyer has less than 20% interest in the contract with the down payment and the monthly payments that they've gone in. If they default, you are allowed to repossess through landlord-tenant court if it's under 20% of the contract. Usually you have to foreclose if a buyer defaults on a land contract or a contract for deed or agreement for deed. So the point is, every state has its own little quirks. North Carolina is one of those states that you got to be very cautious about lease options. They can be done, but if you need to evict You can't go through landlord-tenant court on a lease option in North Carolina. It's a very strange situation. And that's why I advise my clients that are in North Carolina doing lease option assignments to do what's called a contract for option to purchase, where they do a lease and then they do a contract for option where they don't have the option yet. They get the option after they finish their lease, and they go through the credit improvement program first. And that way, if they default on their lease, that's all they got. They only got the lease. They don't have the option yet.
Yeah.
Okay? So, in other words, every state is different. You are such a master in Texas. And I just hope that the people listening to this recording, they go to leasingtobuy.com, they go to reiskills.com, they get the free information, and they listen to the YouTube videos that you and I have put together and get a leg up and get current with what's going on. And if you're Bigger Pockets members, go to Bigger Pockets and read everything that John Jackson has ever typed into that site. And then you go into everything that I've ever typed into that site and on my blog. And you will learn more stuff for free. But the one thing you won't learn on how to do is how to set up a business quickly, how to get your marketing done quickly, how to make your first check quickly. The only way, that's what we do as business owners. We coach people in business opportunity. Start a business part-time, still keep your job, go get a couple of deals done. And if you got a question, you can call your coach. Right, John? Isn't it a fun life to be able to help people quickly solve a problem? Like the seller said, I need that option fee. I don't know what to say to him. Or the tenant buyer goes, I got $500 down. Is that enough? And what do you do? I mean, how to avoid mistakes in this business? Isn't that why we're coaching these folks that don't have a clue?
It is. You know what? It is so fun, Brian. Tina from South Texas called me today, and she's got a house she's working on, and I really enjoyed working through the numbers with her. I sent her an email with my prepackaged email that I send out to sellers.
Yep.
And I said, okay, send this, you do this, and this. Here's the numbers, here's my pre-drafted seller price sheet. And I said, call me after you talk to the seller and get this, and get me on the phone. I don't care. I'll talk to the seller. I talk to sellers all day.
Yep.
But it's so cool to see it actually, help someone go through the process and get to fruition of getting the house, and to see. Well, you've seen, Brian. I mean, leasingtobuy.com. You see houses we have from Pennsylvania to California to wherever. I love being able to work with these students all over the nation and help them get to the point of all the way to the point of finance. And you said something that I think is important. Is that when I first started and spent $700 in a phone call with you when you were in New Zealand,
you're looking for a refund? What are you trying to? You keep bringing that up.
I'm not looking for a refund so much as like a check. But
I will pay you in Lone Star beer.
I've never even had a Lone Star beer. But here's the thing: is I think it's important for anybody you train, anybody I train, anybody listening to this video. You've got to go out there. Here's the bottom line. Take this to heart. When you get your first deal under contract, you will not have all the answers. You will not have all the answers. And here's what's most important. You will never have all the answers. You've got to go out and you've got to wing it. You've got to push forward. And as I always say, and I think you're using now, Brian, I always say, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it.
Well, let me add on to that, because you know what? I think the number one reason why people go to, I won't say any names, but they go to a boot camp, right? And they learn everything. or at least they learn the buzzwords. They learn subject to land trust. They learn wraparound mortgage. They learn all these ideas, right? And they got these 3 big binders, and they're gold letters, and they're heavy, and they cost them $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. I had this one client come to me and said, "Look, my friend, he referred to me because she's your student," and he said, "Oh yeah, she's a great student." And I said, "Well, I went to this company and paid them over $30,000 to be a real estate investor, 30 grand, and I won't say any names, and I'm very upset because I called them up for training, one-on-one coaching, and I found out that the person talking to me was in a cubicle, 22 years old, reading out of a book."
Oh no!
And I went, "You know what? I'm sorry about that. Now, do you want to make some money with me? And I won't charge you 30 grand. I guarantee you that, first of all. And I will give you a guarantee if you don't make at least 2 times what you pay me in gross fees from your business income, I'll give you your money back." It's that simple. And that's my guarantee. You know, the way I get my people checks fast is this. We split deals, and they open the deal up with the seller, and I close it on the phone. I pick up the phone and close it with the seller.
Yep.
So they're like my partner. They're my business partner. They do a letter of intent, and it's very simple. It's very clear cut. They tell them exactly what they're going to do. And then when the deal closes, we split the deals. My students, they just have to do 10 deals with me, and they can quit. They don't have to split any more deals with me. And if they got a problem deal, like a probate deal or a divorce deal or a bankruptcy deal, and they don't know what to do, they call me. I'll split that one deal and fix that one specialized problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I want them to be free of splitting deals with me. I don't want that. I want to wean them up. I want to kick them in the ass outside the baby bird's nest. I'm the mama bird. They got to fly. They got to fly by themselves.
Brian, that is, and I apologize, I've got to go here in about literally like 1 minute, but I will say this. I was always, not to go, kind of leading on what you're saying here, I was always anti-joint venture. Mm. And I've changed my mindset a little bit, but I was always anti-joint venture. Because if people came to me for training, they can call me 24/7, email me. I'll do anything. I'll get on the phone with the seller. I'll pull the application for I'm doing everything for them.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do you want to give me half your income? But I've changed my tune, Brian, to where I see that, because just knowing that you can do a joint venture is a sense of comfort for the student.
Yes.
And I get that.
Yes.
And so I get that. So I've changed my tune on the joint venture thing to where I was like, why do you want joint venture? I'm here anyway. Just use me. But I've changed my tune on that. But there is something to be said from a mental and a comfort standpoint.
Yeah, it's a crutch. It's a temporary crutch.
Yes,
they're going to use.
Yes, it is.
John, let me just enter, and I'll let you go. I'll give you an example of that. Okay, I got a brand new student, brand new, like 3 weeks in. Okay, excellent marketer. Whenever I get excellent marketers, we got to get it one deal done fast. We got to get one deal done fast. So he already had 5 leads. He already had 5 leads when he called me, you know. So I went through this accelerated training with him for like boom, 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 boom. And then now he was presenting in front of the seller their choices, and he got stuck. He didn't even call me for, are you available? He just called me. He didn't text me and say, you know, are you available to call? He just called and prayed, okay, that I would answer the phone. I answered the phone. Here's my phone. I answer the phone. I go, hello? And I said, Brian, I'm glad I got you available. This is your partner, Bobby. And I'm going, hi, Bobby. How you doing? And I go, Mr. Rice here, and he's got this question about the option fee, and he'd like us to split it. And I go, you need to talk to my partner, Brian, about that, because, I can't make that decision.
Right.
And I get on the phone. Can you put Mr. Rice on the phone for me? And I get on the phone with him, and I'm here, and I go, Mr. Rice, how you doing? My name is Brian. You're in good hands with Bobby. I understand you got a question about the option fee. And he goes, yeah, I want to split it. I said, I'll tell you the wrong thing to say. The wrong thing to say is this. Well, unfortunately, our business policy doesn't allow us to split the option fee, and we just can't help you with that. That's the wrong thing to say. Let me tell you what the right thing to say is. Mr. Rice, I got to ask you a couple of quick questions so I understand your situation better. How much is your house worth? And he's going to say $150,000. I go, okay. Now, if we could get $150,000 for your house without an agent's commission and have the buyers pay the closing costs for you, 100% of that, and we get this job done in 12 to 24 months, where we can actually save you probably about 10 to 15 grand on your house. If we can get all that done for you, do you care how much money we make? And he went, whoa. I said, let me repeat that. If we could get you $150,000 for your house without an agent's commission and no closing costs and get that job done in 12 to 24 months, do you care how much money we make? Because if you care about how much money we make, I can't help you. Because we're giving you 100 cents on the dollar for your house.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So that's it in a nutshell. He said, fine, if that's the way it works, you get the option fee, and I get my $150,000, and I don't have to pay an agent's fee, and I don't have to pay closing costs, I'll do it. And I said, can I talk to Bobby again? And I talked to him, said, Bobby, look him right in the eye, have him sign the paperwork, and call me when you get home. And don't call on the road. Okay, I don't want you to bash into a tree. Okay? And he closed the deal.
Yeah.
And how many times have you done that? How many times have you guided your student down the right road so they quickly get a check?
Exactly. Yeah. I love it. I'm always like, you have my phone, you have my cell phone number. Call me. Get me on the phone. I'll talk to the seller. I'm the one pulling the application from the tenant buyer. I call the tenant buyer and run through the application. So it's a matter of saying, I'm here for you 24/7. You call me. Get me on the phone with the seller. I'll take over the situation. And let's get this deal done.
Yeah. Well, we'll just wrap it up this way and say, if you're in Texas, call John Jackson. His phone number is right on the screen. If you're anywhere in the United States, call me. I don't like Texans. I'm kidding. I love Texans. Okay? I love Texans. Texans have special laws. They have special laws. John Jackson knows these special laws. You're a fool to do a lease option in Texas without talking to John Jackson first, period. So, John, thank you so much for your time on this recording.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much. And first of all, lastly, I want to say happy birthday to me. It's my birthday today. So happy birthday to me. But, Brian, again, thank you for everything. Thank you for this opportunity to have this little conversation here today and talk about all this, and look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you, Brian.
John, you rock and roll, baby. I'll see you later.
All right, we'll see. All right, bye-bye.